Hey guys, Elizabeth Quinn here again with Elizabeth's Scenes and Scents. Welcome back to my channel. Please don't forget to check out my website, which is waftingwonderfulwax.scentsy.us, where I'm Liz Quinn, your lead Scentsy consultant. So today I and Ralph have for you my September melting basket, which we're going to call a trip to the farm stand. I do have all sorts of wonderful, really early fall things here and just a couple of things that sort of say goodbye to summer, and I think we'll have a lot of fun. I'll try to conjure up some memories and experiences that I have when I pull these bars that these particular scents might remind me of. So to start with, I have actually never melted this bar, and so I put it in here because I thought maybe this will sort of force me to end like the Labor Day time on a good summer note and make me think about fall. Find Your Happy Wax Collection Taste of Summer is supposed to be this really strong, beautiful like tea and lemon scent, and I just keep avoiding melting it because I'm afraid it's going to be too strong. But when you think of Labor Day, which is fast approaching, you think of that last really wonderful summer fling out on the lake or camping, or for me, maybe decorating for fall. But it's the kind of a weekend where you are trying to enjoy the best of summer and welcome fall in all at the same time. So I thought this might be an appropriate way to wave goodbye to summer. Also, I still have a couple of clamshells of Here Comes the Sunflowers, which is another really good end of summer scent. And I have been melting this some in August, but I haven't melted it as much as I thought I would, so I wanted to probably use some of it up early September. So this is a scent that if the taste of summer isn't too strong, and I am worried about that, I could possibly melt this in another room next to it, because this has beautiful musk and strawberries and sunflowers, and it's really, really nice. But to go with this, as it's pretty much sister, is going to be Scarlet Sunflower. Now with my ring light, it really washes out the colors. Scarlet Sunflower is just the tiniest bit more golden, and it's very much like Here Comes the Sunflowers, just a little bit more fall version. So right now, this day that I am recording this is a Wednesday. The catalog will change on Friday. If you happen to want both of those sunflower scents, you could order or throw in your club the Here Comes the Sunflowers now, and then you can get the Scarlet Sunflower starting September 1st, and they both be fantastic in September in most people's homes this time of the year. So the Scarlet Sunflower is a little bit heavier with more of a, almost like a sunflower seed note, and it's the sunflower itself, but if you're going to split hairs between the two bars, this one smells more like sunflower seeds and sunflower oil in a nice way. And then you have the cranberries and you have the apples. So it's nice. Little bit earthier, a very, very beautiful fall garden kind of a smell. So this one I think is also just that end of the summer golden sunshine ray. And also sunflowers at the farm stand, at the farmer's market. We have a really beautiful place not that far from us that is a gorgeous farm stand where the lady does these bouquets that are hand tied of the sunflowers and the zinnias and all the grasses. It's gorgeous, and I have brought several of those home over the August month, and I think I'll probably go grab another one or two in September because I love sunflowers. I love all things that have to do with just that cheerful farm motif, end of the summer bounty kind of a deal. So then next we're slowly kind of going to turn toward fall, and then the rest of this is mostly a very fall basket, but it is early fall. I have separated out the heavy-duty pumpkin bakery scents and the heavier spice like cedar cider and things like that to talk about in October. So this is sort of, autumn 1.0, and next month will be autumn 2.0 because there are so many good bars. I love the fact that for me, I can divide all of my fall melting into September, October, and November up to Thanksgiving, and then I can sort of smush all my Christmas together from the middle of November into early January, because there are more good fall scents that I cannot wait to melt than any other time of the year. So Apple Cherry Cider is an old one that I had in a flash sale bundle, I think last fall. This was originally a Harvest Trio scent. This was also with the Huckleberry Apple Pie, which to me is a dud. I can never smell that one, and I don't really remember what the third scent was that was in that trio. But I really liked the Apple Cherry Cider. Now, fortunately, my family did not. So way back in the day, when I first had a Scentsy Club, I had this in there, and eventually I pulled it because they would complain when I would melt this. But this is so pretty. It's like a really light, spiced cherry and apple drink. It kind of has the cherry and apple mix that you get out of apple cherry strudel, but not all the bakery, and it has the spiciness. This is fantastic for September, so I think since it's the only bar I have, I'm just going to enjoy it this year. It's been definitely sitting long enough that I know it's good and strong. It's a newer pour, which you can see from the back, and they did not have those shapes when this was first released as a Harvest Trio bar, so I'm looking forward to that. And then one that is very similar, and you can see this is an old bar, is my old stash, which is dwindling, of Honey Pear Cider, which is a beautiful bar that they took out of the catalog a couple fall seasons ago. And this one is smooth pear cider. It's very gentle, but it's rich at the same time. So if you get enough cubes in a warmer or a couple of warmers in a room, I would say protect this, especially since it's like melting gold at this point, because I do not have it in my club and it's very difficult to get. You see it once in a while in a flash sale bundle, or a couple of years ago I got a whole stack in a clearance sale. This is so gorgeous that you just want to protect your investment and do it in a small to medium zone without too much air current flow that will disperse the scent too much. It's beautiful when you can get it to throw well. So good. So then the last one that's in this first row is Orchard Apple and Spice, which retired this last year. This was a Harvest Trio scent, and then it became catalog scent. And this one is more robust than any of the others that I've already shared with you, except maybe the lemon tea. And this one reminds me of going to my local orchard and picking all sorts of things, because as a kid, we would pick sour cherries. I remember one time I was very small. I was a little girl, and my folks took me to the orchard, and I believe we were picking cherries rather than apples. And I got all the way up to the top of the ladder, just about scared my folks to death. So that's a memory that I have from picking cherries. So this Orchard Apple and Spice has cherry and apple and a little bit of wood. I am kind of sad that they took it out of the catalog. I got, 8 or 10 of them that are in a stack downstairs, because I really like this, but its melting season for me is September and early October, so I wasn't sure if I should just have it in my club, because I'll probably go through 2 bars of that a year, and that will last me a long time. But if you have any of those laying around, or you see it in a flash sale, that's an excellent early fall smell. I like it better than Falling Apples, which is currently in the catalog. All right, next we're going to go to a little bit heavier hitting fall grouping. Apple S'mores is a love it or hate it bar. I think it's perfect for September. It is one of Scentsi's stranger scent combinations, but it's so good. So this has a smokiness from like s'mores and cedar. It's got coconut milk. It has marshmallow. It has apples and graham crackers. Talk about strange, but there is something about this whole gooey, messy, sloppy, just fun bar that I crave every year. So I have a couple left. I may only even melt half of this. Maybe I'll do it with around the campfire or toasted marshmallow and alternate warmers, and it will be fantastic, and it will kind of give me my fix for one of those funny, Scentsy kind of cult classic bars. Now, here is a bar which I might put in the melting basket for both September and October, and that is the classic Cider Mill. I cannot say enough that is good about this bar. It is my favorite, and I think it should be the flagship fragrance for Scentsy for fall. It's just so good. It's smooth and rich apple and pumpkin cider with just the tiniest kiss of spice. And this one obviously kind of opens all the floodgate of memories of going to the farmer's market at the end of the season, going to craft shows, going to the cider mill. I mean, it's all here. And it's because it's smooth and gentle. I recommend this to absolutely everyone. I know there are some people that do not care for it, but I think this is one of the best bars and one of the most classic bars Scentsy makes for fall. The next one here is going to be a bar that you can't get this year. I have a few in reserve. I did not keep it in my club, and that is the amazing Jack's Obsession, which is Day Glow Green Yellow, very similar to Cider Mill. A little bit lighter and brighter, has a little bit more sharpness. It is so good, and it is another spiced apple scent. But this is light with a little bit more of a green apple, and I have 4 or 5 bars of this. I will happily melt this. Similar to the Honey Pear Cider, though, it's one where I try to plan where I'm going to melt it so that the scent is able to be appreciated at its height rather than letting it get into too big of a room and it kind of disappears. So then the next one, this is one that we had from our Bring Back My Bar over the summer. And this is another quintessentially September smell. This makes me think very much of craft shows or when you go to the farmer's market. In our town, we have a lot of vendor booths that they can put up, and there will be certain like soaps and potpourris and maybe even oil blends that are made by local craftsmen. And This bar kind of reminds me of the woodworking booth next to the one where they'd have like apple potpourri. So Hemingway has a wonderful, woody, slightly spicy apple blend. It's almost a cologne, but not quite. It is one of the nicest scents. I'm so glad that I threw it in my club and that it came back for a Bring Back My Bar. This is the perfect thing. Maybe out of this whole box, the most September appropriate, really good throwing, standard, old school bar we have ever offered. The next one that I have, this was also in a lot of our Bring Back My Bar and then bundle type things in the last couple of years, and that is the beautiful Autumn Stroll. Now this is probably October appropriate as well, but if I'm thinking a farm stand or a craft show or farmer's market, that booth where people are offering you homemade soaps and homemade potpourris, it smells a lot like this. So this has some patchouli, because there's always a hippie that's behind the soapworks. That's just kind of how it goes. And beautiful dusky plum and all these things just packed into this bar, some crunchy autumn leaves. This is a medium, kind of medium strong, but low in intensity at the same time smell that is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm waiting for the temperature to drop, but this is definitely a farmer's market appropriate scent. So good. All right, the next one would be at the pie booth at the fair. And so this one is Crayon Apple Crumble. Now, I still admit that there are some odd notes in this, but I'm liking it more and more the longer that the bars are sitting. So you get some allspice, some whipped cream, some dark brown sugar, some cranberries and apples. And sometimes it's just kind of like almost a little molassesy note, and I think that's what makes it weird, but I have appreciated this more and more the longer that I melt it, and it's definitely baked goods appropriate for fall. So next is one where I melted the first bar and I did not love it, but I'm going to give it another chance because as a consultant, I can get 2 bundles early release, and that is Dutch apple bread. So we're going to give this guy another try. This has another weird note, like weirder than Crayon Apple Crumble, which I'm growing to like. This one is supposed to be like an apple bread or maybe apple and oats and breadiness, and it's just an odd combination that's a little bit stale and funky for me. And then later on in the melt, that softens. But I wanted it more sweet, so maybe what I should do is combine this with something like a cube of apple butter frosting and see what happens. But I wanted to melt through another bar of this before I totally wrote it off and said that I didn't like it. The next one is the September scent of the month, and you can always get a good gooey frosted cinnamon roll out at a big craft show. Somebody has to be baking good cinnamon buns. So frosted cinnamon roll is the current, in a couple days, September scent of the month. Everybody needs to buy this if you even halfway love bakery. It's very, very good. It's a standard, very like building blocks in your Scentsy collection if you like bakery, kind of a cinnamon roll scent. It's not heavy on the cinnamon. It's almost more like a really good creamy spiced bakery all combined. It's similar to pumpkin cinnamon swirl, but without the heaviness and the richness. Throws very well. I had 2 cubes in my bedroom today, and I have just been loving it. It's not so decadent that I couldn't enjoy it even in a small space like that. Really, really good bar. There's a carameliness to it too. Now the next one is a bar, and I need to take a sip of my tea here, that I find a little bit odd, but I think I'll enjoy it more in September than waiting for colder weather. And this, I think, was October's scent of the month last year, and it's called Warm Pumpkin Drizzle. But the thing about this bar that makes it early fall rather than late for me is they put pineapple upside down cake notes in here with pumpkin. It's weird, but it's happy weird. Like, there are bars that are weird that you don't want to melt, and there are bars like this or apple s'mores where you do want to melt it, and it's fun, but maybe it's not one where you need it to come back every year in the catalog and you need 20. So it's definitely got pineapple, brown sugar, spices, and pumpkin, it's interesting. I have a couple of friends that love this, and they clubbed it, and that's fantastic. I got my couple of bars from a flash sale, and I'll be happy to melt through them. Now, the next one, I kind of wish I'd left this in my club because there isn't anything else like it in the catalog this year, and this was Harvest Trio last fall, and that is Cozy Vanilla and Pumpkin. This is such a beautiful scent, you guys. It's so good. I have 3 bars in total. Oh, and it's so good. It's smooth vanilla, gentle spices, pumpkin, and a little bit of almost a cashmere note, which you do not really get from Scentsy often at all. I really should have kept this in my club. This is beautiful. I will be hoarding this, probably melting it in my bedroom and the Florida room so I can enjoy it the most. So this is Cozy Vanilla and Pumpkin, and it's one that I will kick I do kick myself that I took it out of my club because we'll probably never see it again. All right, Farmstand Pumpkin. I am going to go out on a limb and say this is probably going to be this catalog season's old school staple that I'm going to fall in love with and talk about all season long. I don't know. It's like Farmstand Pumpkin's just come into its own for me this year. My only thing with this is that it throws it a medium, not any stronger. And I've always liked it, but I always just forget about it and melt it one day or two. I need to just purposely buy a bunch of this and melt it all the time. It is so good. It started out as an October scent of the month a few years ago. It's got caramel, cinnamon stick, apple, and pumpkin. But it smells like wonderful golden hayride and pumpkins. It's so good. And I put some of this in the basement, and I went downstairs today and forgot that I had thrown it in the warmer, and I thought, oh, what is that wonderful fall smell? And I lifted the lid, and I'm like, oh yeah, Farmstand Pumpkin. This is a good bar, and I want to make sure when I put it in my melting basket that I really put in a plug for it, because if you haven't tried this, it is never going to be a boomer, but it's very good and worth picking up. Especially since I thought it wasn't coming back this year. All right, the next one is going to be one where I have a couple in flash sale hauls. That's all I need. I don't need more, and that is coconut pumpkin pie. Now, this really matches my outfit well, and I don't know if you guys can see, we have pumpkins all over the place today. I'm just kind of in the mood, so I'm really ready for September. I'm really feeling fall, and I'm always feeling like fall. That's just my favorite season, any time of the year. But this one... This is that coconut pumpkin pie where it's a little bit waxy, like light on the gingerbread spice and a little bit of coconut and pumpkin, which is perfect for transition between between summer and fall. But I won't need this as the days get colder because it just can't make up its mind what the characteristics of it are. It was in a Bring Back My Bar recently, and I think some people loved it. To me, it's just okay. Like, even between that and Warm Pumpkin Drizzle, I think I like Warm Pumpkin Drizzle better because it has more personality. But anyway, I'll crave it on a particular day, and I'll enjoy it. Next I am so bummed that this did not come back in the catalog. I was quite sure that this was coming back, so I pulled it from my club when I was doing budget cuts. Graham Cracker Crunch. This is a very good bar, you guys, and I'm really sad that they did not bring it back. It is unique. It's got peanut butter. It has this caramelized vanilla sugar thing going on, toasted graham crackers. It's so nice. And it's a very, very good mixer. This is great in alternate warmers with Scary Good. It makes a pumpkin pie smell. So I have, I think, 3 or 4 bars of this, and I will slowly use them up this fall and hope that maybe we can vote that back in the future. All right, the next one that's in my bin is Vanilla Suede. This is another one where if you're just not feeling like you want anything too heavy, but you want something that's just cozy, this is your bar. This was from our Bring Back My Bar this summer. I do believe that these being fresher on the pour, these need some time to develop because back in the day, this thing was a powerhouse. And these are kind of medium-ish at best right now. But it's rich with vanilla and spice and suede notes, and it's a perfect fall, cuddly, like read a book, drink some tea kind of a smell. And since we're talking about fall and I have to throw in all the bars, I have more than fit into my cute little bin. So I have a couple things that are newer. I'm going to go through my next bar of Forever Fall, which is in our 5-bar bundle for Harvest Collection that launches on Friday. This is a bar I can't make up my mind about. I really enjoy it on cold, and then I warm it, and I'm not sure, and then it gets better, and then I've only melted the one, not even full bar because I made samples. So the jury's out on this. It's kind of like a rich brown sugar and baked pumpkin smell. And as I use this in my What I've Been Warming videos, I'll be telling you guys if it improves as the weather gets cold too, because that's another thing about certain bars. Sometimes they're a little much for summer heat or summer air. But when that temperature drops and things get crispy, all of a sudden, stuff like this will come into its own. So I wanted to melt another bar of that. Now, I have been hoarding a stash of Porch Pumpkin, which is an old one from previous time in the catalogs. And it's just a basic pumpkin smell with a hint of acorn. Like, I think it says a pumpkin sitting on the porch enjoying the presence of fall fresh air and some acorns, or I'm totally butchering the description, but something along those lines from back in the day. And so this has a little bit of sweet pumpkin, kind of like what's in the Cozy Vanilla and Pumpkin, but without all the extra jazz. Little bit of freshness and that little hint of acorns or pine cones, and it's really nice. But I haven't melted it in a long time, so I'm looking forward to doing so. All right, the next one is going to be, you can't have September without caramel apples. So caramel apple craze, I have a whole stash for my younger daughter. It was in the club all year from last January. This is so good. And if you're a little bit bored with caramel apple craze and you're daring, throw in a little bit of cinnamon bear and it gives you like that hot, red hot dipped candy apple kind of a smell. So good. So then another one, and this would go very nicely either with probably caramel apple craze or maybe even Hemingway or maybe apple s'mores, is our new Cashmere Leaves. This is beautiful. It almost has a baked warm apple at the beginning of the melt, and then you get more of the cashmere spice and the crunchy leaves. This isn't super long lasting, but it's very good. So I would definitely tell you to pick this up because it's unusual and really, really nice. Okay, what's last here? I have a couple where this is sort of a joke for me because most people do not like this bar. I have to melt in September at least half a clam of Amber Hollow. Now I already jumped the gun because we had this really beautiful cold day this last week and I did half a clam of Amber Hollow because I only have a few bars. I'll probably never get this in my club, but the next time that it's in a flash sale, I need to get like 10 because even though this is what people have dubbed the curry bar, I get beautiful, complex, deep spices with pepper and clove. It's so good. And for me, I just can't have September without this bar. It came out, I think, with the Rustic Jack warmer several Septembers ago, and I loved it. And at that point, I just didn't have a Scentsy Club. I wasn't a consultant, and I just kind of let it pass because I enjoyed it, but I wasn't thinking too far into the future. Now it's like tradition. This is like my friend. I have to melt Amber Hollow every September. So I had to throw this in here because that is tradition. And part of it is just like that and tomato vine. I've only got like 3 cubes left of tomato vine. Somewhere I need to get another bar of that. I would always bring that out in the summertime. And there's sort of this little bit of gleeful imp inside of me that's like, I'm going to show people these bars that they hate and I love them. I'm a brat. I'm sorry. Okay, so Autumn, the Dance of Autumn from Frozen 2. I would love to get more of this. They have been parading a little bit at a time a lot of the bars from that Frozen 2 collection with different characters and things over the last couple years. There's a part of me that hopes that this fall we see this with some sort of Disney promotion. I don't know if we will, but this is so good. And I cannot put my finger on the candle, but there is a candle from Bath & Body Works that this reminds me of. It's a beautiful, blended, very Bath & Body Works style fall scent. It's got apple. It's got not really like Christmas tree. It has some sort of woodiness. I have not read the description in quite a while. But it's low-key, good fall atmospheric scent in the home. So I have 1.5 clams of this and I'm going to enjoy them, and I would love to get this in my club if I could. Maybe someday they'll bring it back. And then the last two, because the end of September we start thinking about colder weather, I do have 2 green bars. So in our Harvest 5-bar bundle, Fall Into Love is beautiful. It only gets to a medium. It has layered notes of soft eucalyptus. Both of these, I'm putting in a plug for eucalyptus. They're not like Just Breathe, which I do not really care for. This is so good with the blended balsam, the soft eucalyptus, and the hint of orange. I just finished melting some Wild for Fall from last year, which is way stronger. I enjoy it, but it can get a lot, it can get to be a lot really fast. This one's perfect, and I think everyone will love it. It's going to come in laundry. It's going to come, I think, in Scentsy Fresh. This is a gorgeous scent. You will enjoy it. And then last but not least, because this is another one that I think just doesn't get enough traffic in the catalog because it has the word eucalyptus in it, Eucalyptus Wreath. Beautiful bar, you guys. This is the most turning toward crisp, cool, frosty nights of everything that I put in here because at least in my neck of the woods, September doesn't get that cold. But this is the only bar out of all these that's crisp and relaxing. And it's so good, you guys. It's so good. And to me, it doesn't seem Christmassy. It seems like transitional fall. Fall into winter really is probably best. This is probably a November bar if I had to peg it for a month. But it's just so nice. I melt it all fall long, but it took me a couple years to even be brave enough to try it because the notes are mint, juniper, and eucalyptus. So it sounds like it's going to be this horrible powerhouse headache-inducing thing. It's not. It's medium, it's elegant, it's relaxing. So that is my more than overflowing basket here. Really, it's a cute little box that I did for enjoying all the scents and smells of early fall that has to do with farm stands and memories, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this. In October, obviously I'm going to be going pumpkin heavy, and we'll get out some of the, fun and funky bars that are a little spooky and all that stuff. But for today, we were doing early fall, so this is Elizabeth with Elizabeth's Scenes and Scents. Let me know, do you have like a special bar that you think of on a particular monthly basis? Like for me, as you get into the fall, and I'm such a nostalgic person, I would say in September, I definitely think of Here Comes the Sunflowers. In October, I already explained the whole Amber Hollow thing. But you get into, that's for September. I hope that's what I said. In October, I really, really think of a lot of our pumpkin heavy scents like Pumpkin Roll and maybe Autumn Road Trip. That's not pumpkin heavy, but there are just certain smells that go with certain times of the year. And I'm so happy that I have Rustic Lodge back. That is my favorite smell for the month of November, kind of keeping the Thanksgiving holiday separate. But when you get to that end of fall where all the leaves are falling down off of the trees and it's almost time to have hunting season, I have missed Rustic Lodge so much. And this year, I can melt as much of it as I want because it's in my club. Anyway, have a great day, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Ralph and I say bye-bye.